Variation is what we are looking at today. What is variation? Variation could also be referred to as proportionality. Proportionality. So variation is a change in a variable's parameter. That is how one value changes in relation to another. So we'll be dealing with a lot of changes in the course of solving this problem that has to do with variation. In variation or in proportionality, we use this symbol to represent that mathematical operation. So this symbol is a symbol that denotes variation or proportionality in mathematics. So if I write t with the symbol and x, then I'm talking about variation. So t varies with x. It could be inverse, it could be direct. So when we are talking about the types of variation, you get to understand what this actually stands for. But this is the symbol we use for variation or proportionality. Types of variation. Types of variation. We have the direct variation. We have the inverse variation or indirect variation. We have the joint variation. Then we have the partial variation. These are the four types of variation that we have: direct variation, inverse variation, which is also referred to as the indirect variation, the joint variation, and the partial variation. Now, this expression I wrote here is a direct variation. It's a direct variation. So t varies directly with x. T varies directly with x. Or you can say t directly varies with x. So this is a direct variation. For us to solve problems involving direct variation, we are actually dealing with direct variation right now. Direct variation, which is one of the first variation mentioned. We have the direct, the inverse, the joint, and the partial. So this is a direct variation. T varies directly with x. And for us to solve problems that involve direct variation, when we have t varies directly with x, we need to remove the variation sign and introduce a constant of proportionality. You need to remove the variation sign and introduce a constant of proportionality. If you do that, we'll be having t is equal to, I'm going to use any letter I want to use. I want to use k. T is equal to kx. It means I've removed the sign of proportionality or variation, and I've introduced a constant k, which is called the constant of proportionality. So you can use any letter you wish. You can use p, you can use t, you can use q, any letter you wish, but I choose to use this particular letter k. So t is equal to kx, where k is a constant of proportionality. So this particular expression or equation shows the relationship between t and x. This particular expression shows the relationship between t and x, or the relation between t and x. Should you ask in your exam, find the relation between t and x, your result should be in this form, after knowing what k would be. So we can find our k from here. If t is equal to kx, then our k alone will be equal to t all over x. Of course, you know that if x leaves to the other side, it will become a divisional problem. So it will be k is equal to t over x, which you can also write as k is equal to t over x. So k itself is t over x. So for you to know the values of k, or the value of k, you need to know the value of t and the value of x, which of course will be given to you in your problem. They will surely give you the value of t and the value of x for you to find the value of k. So we'll be solving problems that have to do with direct variation in our next other class. But do not forget, this expression or this equation shows the relation between t and x, and this one shows the value or the standard of k after knowing what t and x will be. So see you in our next other class.